BaconBit.
BaconBit.
I'm surprised it wasn't BaconBit.
Bacon. Welcome to this BaconBit.
This one's a little irregular.
It's irregular for a couple reasons, but listener, I want you to understand something. Kent doesn't take us to screenings anymore.
To movie screenings? What do you mean?
Kent, if you don't know, the way of a movie critic is
way of a movie critic. Here we go.
He gets to see movies early before the general public, which is why we're able to review a lot of movies on the day they come out. Kent doesn't take us.
You forgot about the part where he goes to everyone he knows and talks about those movies 2 days before anyone else can see them.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I have to brag to somebody.
Obviously, yeah.
So then Jacob and I, seeing as how we are lowly general audience members.
Yes, so pedestrian.
We have to wait until the movie comes out before we can see it. And that's why we're doing this BaconBit a week late.
Wait, like opening weekend?
With the masses. With the masses.
Thanks a lot, Kent.
So we are going to review Sonic the Hedgehog today.
Hold on. You actually missed the part where we invited Kent to go see it with us.
And he said no.
And he's still like, I'm good, pass.
If I don't see it early, I don't see it at all. I think that's his exact phrase.
Honestly, kind of true.
Like, okay, the last part.
I knew you guys were going to review this, and I had a free night to go see this movie, and I was like, nah, these guys got it.
So Sonic the Hedgehog, if you don't know, is a 2020 movie about Sonic the Hedgehog from 1990.
Yes.
1992. But
it was meant to come out last year, actually.
It was, last year. And they released a trailer, and no one liked the design of Sonic. It got memes made about it, huge backlash, negative reviews.
Fuel, I think is the term.
He looked terrible, and the filmmakers, to their credit, said, "We heard you. We're going to make it better." And then they painstakingly went back and altered the character. I don't know how much of the story they altered.
This is always a good idea, honestly, because they get so much credit for this and so much attention. Everyone's like, oh, it's hideous. Oh, wow, look, it's new.
There is a large portion of the 10% of Twitter that gets really irate over everything.
That's the problem, though. You can't listen to the Twitter mob.
So, but this portion says, quit listening to fans. Fans don't know better. Make the movie you were intended to make. But this movie company, they listen to the fans, and people have now cared to support. Or no, I'm not saying that's the only reason, because people have kids, but they care to support the movie now because of what the animators have done.
And by support, you mean to the tune of
buying a movie ticket?
No, I mean, how much has it made?
Oh, I think over the first weekend, I think it's about $65 million.
Yeah, 65, literally, 67, something like that.
This has been out there. It is the best opening for a video game adaptation ever.
It's jaw-dropping.
That's ridiculous.
Which is a low bar, but still.
It is a low bar.
It's true, because like Tomb Raider wasn't as successful, even though it's getting a sequel. Warcraft was a bomb.
Warcraft was terrible.
Right.
But we've talked about, in fact, I think we did a whole show, didn't we, about video game adaptations and how they were terrible. So this one is one that I didn't really, in fact, I put this as my most likely to bomb or will bomb in 2020.
Wait, I think I think it's going to do okay.
I think you guys both went, no, it'll do fine. And I was like, there was a lot writing against it.
Especially when it has that sort of thing happen. I think it makes it
Before you
work.
throw in your reviews, why did you guys go see this movie?
I was getting to that.
Okay.
So I didn't have a lot of hope going into it. Like, I love Sonic the Hedgehog, the game.
Yeah.
And I was like, this feels a little too late, a little too gimmicky. Like, they're throwing Jim Carrey as Doctor Robotnik, and I'm like, he's not Doctor Robotnik.
Right.
And then my son, my oldest son, kept saying, like, we should go, Dad. We should go. And I'm like, it's tugging on my dad heartstrings, like, taking a kid to a movie is kind of cool, because normally we don't go to movies because let's just watch them at home.
You have many kids.
We do.
Yes.
It's actually my fault. It made so much because I brought almost all my kids to the theater. Filled up
32 million theater. Was from your family.
Yeah, exactly. It was all my money. But I finally went, you know what? It was it was actually a 4-day weekend for them, 3-day weekend for me. And I said, let's do something fun. Let's go see Sonic the Hedgehog. And so we decided to go to the theater.
How many did you take? How many kids?
The oldest 4.
Okay.
I left like the other, the oldest 4 in my one theater. I had the other 1,600 in the other theater.
It's for the best.
I didn't want to sit by them. And Kent, you'll be so proud of me. Or maybe you won't. Jacob might think I'm weird. You might be proud. Is I basically threatened them with death on the way there. Just saying,
good dad.
Well, I'm just like, this is how you behave in a movie theater. It is not like watching a movie at home.
Yeah.
You have to be quiet. You cannot ask a question. Questions require answers. You can make a short comment occasionally, but do not talk during the movie.
Very nice.
Don't
I like
siblings.
I like this.
Stay in your chair.
Yeah.
You played the Bacon Sale theater etiquette show on the way there.
Yeah, I did, basically.
Jake, why did you go?
Just a weird circumstance kind of worked out. Like, I would have not chosen it.
Because your daughter's quite young.
You didn't take your kids?
No.
Kid?
No.
Did you go by yourself?
No. It's just with some family around.
It sounds very cryptic, Jake.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
Doesn't matter.
Who did you go with?
The wife and some family. Yeah.
Okay.
Did you go by yourself?
No.
Okay. Did you?
Wife and some family.
I don't want to. It doesn't matter.
Jacob's a polygamist. We'll just get it out right now. It's wife and other wives.
Well, he does live in Lehigh now, so
that's where it all
makes
happens.
sense. Okay. And that's so funny to me because I did try to take my daughters, but my youngest one didn't want to go to the theater because it's too loud, apparently.
I did have one of my daughters covering
Yeah.
her ears during the theater.
Okay.
Because they're just not used to it.
Right.
Because we don't go that often.
Okay, so who wants to review first?
Well, let me first give the synopsis.
Yes,
for this.
please.
Okay, let's hear a
Because
synopsis.
This is what Kent does. Actually, what Kent does is he usually tells the entire plot and then says, "That's not a spoiler, is it?"
Sonic dies in the
That's
first
not a
5
spoiler.
minutes.
No, guys, this is all in the trailer. It's all in there. No, it's not, Kent. You read stuff online. So this is the IMDb synopsis of Sonic the
That's
Hedgehog.
true,
2020.
yeah.
After discovering a small blue fast hedgehog, a small town police officer must help it defeat an evil genius who wants to do experiments on it.
Oh,
Starring Jim Carrey as Doctor Robotnik, as
Yeah.
I mentioned, James Marsden as
the human. The human.
what do you call him? Donut Lord.
The sheriff. Oh yeah, Donut Lord. That's right.
And then you have playing the voice of Sonic is Ben Schwartz, which if you don't know who he is, maybe you've seen Parks and Rec.
I
and
looked him up.
He is the
I looked-
worst.
Yeah, his voice is kind of the worst.
He's John Ralphio
Yeah.
in Parks and Recreation. So there's the
This sounds
rundown
just
of what
like
it
the
is.
plot of Sonic 3, which many people haven't played. No, it doesn't. Why would they possibly put him in a buddy comedy with a human?
It doesn't matter. Nothing about the plot matters. It's so cliched and silly.
Oh, Jake's getting us started, I
And
guess.
Go
I'm
for
going
it, Jake.
in. Yeah,
Go.
the plot is nonsense, right? It's like go see Sonic on screen. There's going to be some laughs. It's going to be interesting.
we should say this first part is spoiler free. We won't get into spoilers until after.
Okay.
We'll let you know.
So yeah, it's riddled with absolute lazy nonsense. But
What does that mean?
oh gosh,
I hear product placement is there.
product placement is actually the worst thing about this movie.
They literally
It is relentless.
They literally
it's like getting
said,
slapped in the face
"What
with
are you
like
doing?"
a fly swatter
It's-
over
no,
and over.
I'll give you an example.
Okay.
This isn't a spoiler,
I'm
but
so
I'll give you an
excited
example.
this is happening.
He says, "Oh, darling, what are you doing?" "Oh, I'm looking up houses on Zillow."
No.
and it like
shows the screen.
Lingers. It
Lingers
like
on the
lingers. Stop
screen.
it. Stop it. It's like 3 seconds.
He mentions
screen time
he
of
mentions
Zillow.
Amazon at one point.
Okay.
And at one point they're discussing the never-ending pasta bowl
No,
at Olive
not at
Garden.
one point. At 3
Multiple
points.
points.
3 points.
But at one point they're
guys.
discussing
Olive
never-ending
Garden's
pasta bowl.
unlimited pasta bowl, and they're
It's
like,
never
"Have you had
ending."
it?" No, that's what they say.
They
That's
literally
actually
say-
what they say.
they
It's never
exactly
ending.
say-
Like,
You
oh,
guys-
that's pretty good, and they walk away like, "Hey, that actually does
Wait,
sound pretty good."
is it
doesn't
It's
because-
never-ending.
Much like the Flash,
Oh.
Sonic needs to keep eating to keep his metabolism
that doesn't
going.
come
Nothing to
into
do
it
with
at all,
Sonic.
and it should have.
None of this is Sonic
No,
talking.
it is forced. It's totally
Hold on,
forced.
is this the human saying
This
this?
is human saying this.
Yes, it's all forced. And
I love this so
what else do we
much.
have? We have some Coke product placement,
yeah.
and
Here's what I
Olive
wanna know.
Garden and Zillow, and there's
Those
more.
I remember. Yeah, there were more.
There
How
was.
does Sonic feel as a character? Like if kids today, because I think kids really want to see this movie, strangely enough, will they like the character of Sonic? Will it feel familiar enough with
Okay.
the games?
As a fan of the games, I had an image of what I thought Sonic would be like.
Attitude wise and everything?
Yes.
Okay.
This isn't exactly that, but it's pretty close.
Okay.
Like he's a little more naive than I would well, he's in his element, I guess, in the games, but he wasn't as cocky as I thought he'd be in the movie, or as sure of himself. And that kind of went, well, I hope he gets that in the next movie where he's a little more sure of himself, because he
Okay.
is so
That's fine
fast.
to have an arc like that.
Well, I'd say any kids watching, they have no idea. They have no expectations. Who's Sonic?
I mean, 'cause
and
there's
their
not
parents.
much there
Yeah, it's
for
literally
Sonic.
like their parents are like, "Oh, this is cool. Go see this kid."
Yeah, so Jacob,
You know?
continue your review of berating the movie.
Yeah. So yeah, the product placement is profoundly
the plot
annoying.
is nonsense.
The plot. It's so meaningless. So you asked for an example. So it's like they're traveling and they have to go into a bar, and then there's a bar fight, and it's all like it's just they know it. Like it's almost like they're winking at the camera. It's like, yeah, we're doing this.
This borrows heavily from so many other buddy movies that you've seen, and also, like he mentions the bar scene. Let's again, we're not spoilers here, but if you've seen X-Men First Class, and the scenes with Quicksilver, they're hoping you haven't seen those.
They are definitely hoping. They're
Actually-
like, hey, remember that scene that was really good? We're going to do it half as well.
Are we talking
5
music,
years later?
music behind the back?
Yes.
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 I like that effect.
And
Like, it doesn't really get old with
it's
me.
a cool effect.
Although, Joel,
it's
for
basically
you-
it's Quicksilver for kids is what this is.
It was.
okay,
That
that's
is what it was.
Totally fine.
Yeah, that's exactly what it
Can
was.
I ask a question?
Well, hold on, Joel. For you, did time stop, or did it just slow down in the bar? Because it seemed like it just stopped.
There was slight movement. Like it was the point
Was there?
where
Because I kept watching for even the slightest movement, and there was
Yeah.
like nothing. I'm like,
Wait,
it
so
looks like
there-
Sonic can just freeze time.
So the editor really didn't know what they were doing.
No, but
as far
they
as
do like
splicing it
there's a part
together.
like for example when a rocket's coming and you can see it's kind of moving forward.
No,
and
that's
so-
later. That part it did work.
But
like, I did see
they
the
definitely
movement
stretch the believability of how fast he
Yeah.
can go.
I mean, who
So-
and
cares,
it
I guess,
varies.
but-
From what I
depending on the
hear,
movie.
this is a road trip movie.
Yes.
And he rides in a truck.
Yep.
Why does Sonic
They
ride?
actually
can't get
do
into
actually-
that. We can't get
That
into
actually
it's a
is
spoiler?
It actually
It's a
is
spoiler.
addressed.
It's a
Yeah,
spoiler, yeah.
It is addressed. I mean, it's like they have to find some reason because it clearly makes no sense.
Is it because
from,
Robotnik can track him?
from a utility standpoint?
Let's wait.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts on Robotnik, by the way,
Yes.
Jacob?
So Robotnik was hands down the joy of this movie.
Oh, what?
Jim Carrey returned to form.
I genuinely
What?
forgot that he could entertain me. I was shocked.
I'm impressed.
I mean,
Okay.
he literally had lines. He's just riffing. Like at first, you're like, "Oh, the scripted. Oh, yeah, this is okay." There's no way they wrote that crap. Like
Yeah.
that was madness.
Because he's doing his thing.
But yeah, he's doing his thing, and you're like, "Oh, that was actually kind of funny." And then it's like, then it gets better and it builds, and suddenly I'm like, Jim Carrey's being funny, like genuinely, like the '90s funny, like zany, weird, over the top, and I'm amused.
They
I'm
did just let him go
I
for a couple
I laughed out loud like a couple of times at his jokes. I could not believe it.
Is Sonic a better character because the villain is so strong?
For sure.
I mean,
The movie, yeah.
The
no,
movie
not the
overall,
movie,
yeah.
but the character. Do you care more for the protagonist?
There's not a lot of
No.
interaction between Sonic and Robotnik.
Okay,
But we'll get to that.
sure.
So,
I think that's the Joel, do you want to respond to that part, or should I complete?
well,
the
I was
full
going to say,
review?
do your review, I'll do mine.
Okay. So, yeah, Jim Carrey, definitely the highlight of this. The plot is gibberish. It's all silly nonsense. There's a couple of moments of surprises. So, while we're staying the spoiler free, you will be entertained with kids, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
It wasn't sharp enough for adults.
No.
And as you watch, so it's not very good. But I was entertained and I did laugh, and it is almost entirely thanks to Jim Carrey.
Would you call this, Jacob, like McDonald's of movies?
Absolutely.
The
I
way
would.
people
Maybe it's
describe
Burger
this
King.
for the genre is that it's Iron Man. This is going to lead off the video game MCU.
No,
basically.
no.
You're saying no.
No, this is like hot garbage that you eat and you're like, that was hot garbage, but it's in me now.
It's like spicy chicken sandwich from McDonald's.
Yes. That is what it's like. It's like, was this a mistake? I guess it's fine.
Okay, what's your grade?
C+.
Okay, that's perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Joel.
So for me, like I said, I got to go there with my kids and see their interaction with them, and I cannot tell you how much joy it brought me to see them gasp when they were surprised by something,
Okay,
or
cool.
laugh at some of the jokes that happened. The humor here,
Spotty.
it's spotty. Like it's already bump set spike, with the exception of Jim Carrey, who is chewing the scenery, spitting it out, chewing it again, and then spitting it out.
There are other jokes though. They're forced, and it's like da da da. Oh no! Oh well. Let's just keep going.
Jim Carrey, by the way, is responsible for the only swear word in the entire movie. Drops an F word right in the middle of it.
Stop that right now.
No, it's an H word. But he says, "What the heck are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, there's one."
He's
That was
talking
it.
about Tails, by the way.
Everything else was completely clean. By the way, it was very, very clean movie.
Yeah, even the girlfriend, when she's like freaking out, she goes, what the heck?
Yeah.
Guys. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, wow, they're really trying to keep this.
They were keeping it
kid-friendly.
very kid friendly, and my kids were loving it.
Yeah.
And that made me like it.
Oh, sure, of course.
Because I was enjoying it. Like Jacob said, it wasn't anything amazing. It borrowed heavily from so many other buddy movies.
So many. Everything. It's so unoriginal.
There were
you could
decisions
puke.
that made no sense whatsoever, but I was not offended by this. This did not ruin the Sonic of my childhood. This was a harmless view, and they changed some things. They changed some of the mythology.
Sure.
Like at the very beginning, there's characters that were never in any of the video games. That mythology is not there at all, and they changed kind of what the rings are about in a little way.
So curious.
It doesn't take itself too seriously though, and that's really kind of what I was like. Is I'm like, you're having a good time, and I have to give them respect for going back and completely redesigning their character. Which who knows?
Can I actually add to that
how
point?
long that would have taken?
Yeah.
Sonic is, I mean, as a CGI character, he's kind of brilliant. Like he's very like.
Could you imagine if they stuck with the original?
No, it would have
been weird.
It would have been weird, yeah.
It would have pulled you out. It's like it would be like Cats, where you cannot focus on the story because everything looks too weird.
But the camera lingers on Sonic and like his eyes, which are like glowing, you know, all the time. I mean, constantly through the movie, and you're like, wow, he's kind of gorgeous. Like it's like
Jacob wanted to marry him.
I wanted to marry him. Wife. I basically wanted to marry him and take him home to meet my other kids. You know, and no, he's.
I will agree with Jacob here that I agreed with him most of the time, but it was so not great. Good, passable, harmless, I'd call it. But the thing they did right.
Put that on the poster.
Yeah.
Harmless. That's just what Kent wants it to be a movie.
Like I said, it didn't offend my childhood. But and my kids really enjoyed it. But the thing about it is the test of a CGI character is if you believe they're really there. Because a lot of times, like
among the human characters,
either they don't fit in or they don't look right.
It didn't really pass that test.
I thought it did though. Like
you did?
I believed him as a character on the screen. It wasn't like, although I will say the voice acting, it did feel like Ben Schwartz kind of recording it in a booth for a lot of these things.
Yeah, because he's just constantly yelling. It doesn't matter what's going on or where you are.
He's a very loud character,
as loud as he can. Constantly. He gave me a headache.
Overall, I got to the end and I was like, yeah, you know what? I was fine with that. I have no problem with that. If they made another one, I would probably go see it.
And they will.
The question is, will the next one capture the potential that they were maybe afraid to realize in this first one?
Maybe.
I hope they lean into their strengths and actually get a solid plot.
Now we want to find out what the strengths are in the spoiler section.
Well, hold on. Joel hasn't given his grade.
Oh, yeah.
3 stars.
Okay.
It's an average movie.
Sure.
I like I said, if you enjoy Sonic, if you got kids, take them to it. This is a fun one. All the family can enjoy together. The stakes are... stressful for kids. Like my kids were generally worried about certain things.
Yeah.
And the whole time I'm like, well, it's going to be fine because X, Y, and Z. Have you not seen all these other movies, children? What am I doing as a father? But overall, it's fine. It's good. It was fun.
Okay. Now it's time for spoilers.
Spoilers and spoilers and spoilers and spoilers.
So, Joel, I want to know the thing that surprised you.
Well, at the end. That's going to be right into the end. Do you want me to get there?
Oh, I don't know.
I have questions.
Okay.
How much of this takes place in Sonic World?
Oh, little to none.
Yeah, very little.
What?
He's starting... Okay, so this is the thing. Right at the beginning of the movie, he's talking about how he was raised by this owl.
Oh, we didn't even talk about friendship theme. Is that a spoiler? That's
the
why
friendship theme?
Yeah. He was lonely,
No,
right?
it's fine.
Yeah. That's the whole. That's the crux of the whole movie.
So he's in
raised,
100-acre wood.
He basically yes. So he's raised by the owls of Ga'Hoole. But then
yeah, that's about right.
Get out.
But then these random characters who they kind of look like Sonic characters, but they're not. They appear.
No Amy, no Knuckles.
No,
Tails.
He has to run away. He throws a ring. He jumps the ring. He lands up on Earth. And that's where it is.
No. He remember he showed the map where he struck out a couple other. The Earth is like the 3rd or 4th place he's been, and this one's been going pretty good.
Because the whole point is, she says, if people find you, they're going to want your power. So you have to.
So Jonathan Kent. That's what basically happened.
I was exactly going to say that. It's right. Kevin Costner in Man of Steel saying, "Hide it, son.
Yeah,
I'm going to die now.
They're gonna. Yeah.
So then he goes to Earth and he's hiding out by himself in the woods and stalking people and looking in their windows at night.
Why?
And feeling like he's a part of their family,
like trying to steal their pies, or he wants.
They actually, he wants to be a part of something. So he gives everyone in the town names.
Yeah. So like James Marsden is Donut Lord because apparently he talks to his donuts.
And then the pretzel lady is his girlfriend because she does yoga.
I'm into this,
and
this is okay.
Yeah, this is okay. This is actually a solid
And the thing
part.
is, like, they do this very fine where it's all lighthearted. When you think about it, you're like, that's kind of creepy that he's like stalking all these people, but whatever.
Yeah, and they actually play up the joke quite a bit.
Yeah, they do call him out on it. They're like,
they call him out. Yeah.
Okay,
and he's like, when we were watching it, and you just didn't know I was there.
So then he thinks he's fine on his own. I'm fine, and he has like his life that he leads and his routine. But then he just realizes how alone he is, and he freaks out. Causes a power surge. The government notices, and this is the part I didn't like as much. The government hires Robotnik. Robotnik is part of the government, the U.S. government.
But was this all a ploy by Robotnik? Can I make a guess? That Robotnik has known Sonic before and has been... Oh, okay, this is the first meeting.
Encounter.
No, this is first encounter. So basically the government's like, we don't know what to do about this. Like, well, we could send that one crazy guy. And they're like, yeah, sure.
They're like, no, you don't want to send him. Yeah, we could send him. I don't want to
send
see him.
Overly crazy guy.
Yeah, that's
basically
pretty much
he gets the job. He gets results, and so they hire him. It felt very out of left field, but
because basically they were like, none of this makes sense. We can't answer it. There's no solution. Let's send the craziest guy we know who's also a genius. Maybe he can figure it out.
Yeah.
He shows up and
he's not he's not Robotnik that you know from the cartoon or the
No. He's just a guy.
Based on the first trailer I saw, he becomes the Robotnik we know. Is it because he's being driven crazy by Sonic?
Do you want the full spoiler?
We'll get
Go
there.
for it.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get to the end part first, but I just want to talk about the middle stuff here.
Okay, yeah. Well, Jim,
Because you're talking about the part about why he can't run.
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I've been talking for a bit. You can go.
Well, so Sonic's been to a few different worlds. He gets there and he's really sad because he's lonely, and then that's how the power surge happens. Jim Carrey shows up and he's like, "I'm going to try and capture him," and they find his little feather,
His quill.
yeah,
hedgehog
quill. Thank you. So they find a little quill, and it turns out it has unlimited power.
Yeah.
I saw that in the trailer where it's like electrocuted or electrifying,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah.
So Robotnik is all like,
he has an army of robots that he uses and he wants to power them.
and so he wants to do this now. Now Sonic,
Drones more than robots.
yeah. So Sonic could like just take off, but he's just like, it doesn't make sense. Like he could.
No, he's literally okay. So he has these rings where he can throw them, and like he's basically run out of worlds. So the next world he goes to is like this desolate world of mushrooms. Which I was like, is that a veiled Mario reference?
It's got to be, right?
But
Oh, you're probably right.
But I don't know. But he was like, I don't want to go there. There's no people. There's nothing there. And so, but then they start tracking him down. He's just about to throw a ring, and then dogs start coming around his cave where he hides. And he's like, "Oh, I can't do it here. I've got to do it somewhere else." And I was like, "What?
Makes
Why?
zero sense.
Okay."
But at what point does Jerry O'Connell come through the ring?
So he goes to hide in Marston's house.
Yeah.
And
Donut Lord. That's
Donut
fine.
Lord. Yeah, Donut
Yeah.
Lord's house. And he's in there. And then Marston's like, "Oh, I'm going to get the darn raccoons," because it's a thing with the raccoons in the trash. And so he grabs a
Tranquilizer gun.
trank gun. Thanks. And so he goes out and he's like, "I'm going to go get these guys." And anyway, so he
He breaks open the door, and the fastest creature in the world isn't able to get out of the way of a tranquilizer dart.
Yeah.
But then his legs are jelly after. And so he's not able to run as fast, which is why they have to...
for a few minutes, basically. Or no, it knocks him out.
It knocks him out, but then when he wakes up, he can't run as fast, and so he needs his help.
Well, it's actually funny. So he knocks him
You get
out
hit in the spine?
and then
Is
his
it paralyzed?
Got him in the leg.
Yeah, hits him in the leg. yeah. He passes out. A ring falls on the ground, and he sees Donut Lord's shirt that says San Francisco. And so he looks at that and he goes, "San Francisco," and then his rings fall out, and it falls onto a skyscraper.
Because whenever you think
in
of
San
where
Francisco.
you're going, you throw the ring, and it will appear, and then you can go through it.
Oh, that's cool.
So Sonic wakes up in a cage, and it's actually kind of a funny moment because it's like, okay, he's in a cage. How's this going to go? And Donut Lord turns around, and Sonic like wakes up and is like, "What the heck?" And then he just reaches around and opens the cage and comes out. And he turns around. He's like, "Ah," And
That was a good description. No, but here's the thing. Here's the part that made no sense whatsoever to me.
there's a lot of things that don't make sense to just.
But this was the big one. Is so they're driving and they're talking about, Sonic's kind of explaining who he is and where he comes from, and James Marsden kind of be like, okay, whatever, and they're talking, and then he's like, "Okay, I can't help you, man. He's looking for a job actually in San Francisco,
Okay.
To be a real cop in a big
We're
city."
skipping over all the Jim Carrey bits too.
We are, but I was going to say, I just want to talk about the Sonic issue, because then he's like, "I can't help you. I'm sorry." And he's like, "Okay, well, which way is San Francisco?" He's like, "It's west." He gets out of the truck on the side of the road, runs back like a second later, and is covered in seaweed and has a fish on his head.
Well, because Donut Lord says, "Run west, you can't miss it."
Yeah.
So he just
And
kept running
And
until
so he
he was in
ran
the
west and he
ocean.
hit the ocean, and they are in Montana?
Montana, yeah.
And so he runs to the Pacific Ocean and back in a matter of seconds. And then he's like, "I can't find it. You got to help me find it." He says, I don't know where to look for San Francisco. When James Marsden was literally a scene earlier drawing a map of his route of when he goes to San Francisco for his interview. And he could have shown that to Sonic and been like, "Go
Sonic
here."
just runs in straight lines.
Apparently. But
Yeah.
he could literally have run there. And then when they actually get to San Francisco, the rings are actually
They
at the
do
top
have the
of a tall
friendship
building.
thing. He's lonely and he's all
He
excited to
is.
be with him. So that's the thing.
Okay.
It's like Sonic
Along the way, they find what he's
Well,
really
it's more
wanting
like
to
yeah,
I
say.
think Sonic,
exactly,
I think
exactly.
Sonic just didn't want to be alone again. That was my kind of like, okay, I can explain this away.
All right.
But then they get to the building where
It's thin, but they make
what
it
is it?
kinda
Chrysler Building? I don't, no, that's in New York.
I don't
can't remember what it's called. Tall building. The rings are at the top of it in a bag. There's a part by the way when he gets hit and the rings spill out, and I was like,
awesome.
"Ha!" But we've seen him run up walls before, and yet he's like,
I'm waiting for him to run up the wall. I'm like, why is
and then
he
he's like,
running up
"Oh,
the
we got to
wall?
go up the elevator. You need a special pass to get in there, so they could have a funny scene."
That's
with,
when he's in the bag.
yeah.
It is actually funny. I mean, they played it in the trailer, but I'm like, that is funny.
But his speed was definitely
Makes no
variable.
sense.
It's sometimes he could run as fast as anyone and get out of the way of anything, and other times it's like, we can't do this.
Yeah.
Okay. So Robotnik is being maddened by this creature that he can't quite capture.
Yes.
So he shows up to Donut Lord's house because he's tracked it there, basically. And
That's what we just keep calling him Donut Lord. When his name is Mike Wachowski. It literally is Mike Wachowski.
Is it really?
No, it's not.
Well, his name's Michael Tom Wachowski. And which is very close to Mike Wazowski from Monsters Inc.
Sure.
Yeah. The whole time I was like, oh.
But they have this whole back and forth, like on the front porch. And it's honestly pretty funny because Jim Carrey's just insulting him relentlessly.
To Sonic?
Yeah.
No. It's a Donut Lord. Man,
okay.
And Joel, did the line get you when he was like, talking about his upbringing and all these different things, and I accomplished more than you ever will by the time I was a toddler.
Yeah.
And
I was making formulas when you were still spitting out formula.
When you were spitting out formula, and the Donut Lord's like, I don't know, I was breastfed. And he goes, way to rub the fact I'm an orphan in my face.
It was funny.
I laughed out loud.
Yeah,
that made me laugh.
Yeah, it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, there were parts that made me laugh. There's a very antagonistic sister-in-law.
Okay.
Which I was like, I don't know why she hates him so much.
It was ridiculous.
But it was set up for some fun moments.
That's all it was.
Really, that's all it was there for.
We're talking way too long about this dumb movie.
Will the sequel take place on our planet or another world? Yes.
Ending happens, crazy stuff happens, fights happen, like it all kind of...
No. Sonic dies, but guess what brought him back to life, Kent?
Hold on. I don't know what.
I think you might know.
The power of friendship.
Yep.
No, it doesn't.
It does.
He literally,
a ring would bring him back to life.
He gets
power
blowed
of
up.
friendship.
He gets blowed up, and then...
he's all done.
And then Mike Wazowski says... No, he's my friend. Eyes open up. He goes almost supersonic.
He got
and
True
blasts
Love's
him,
kiss?
basically.
Yeah. But
James
friendship.
Marsden. It happens all the time in True Love's.
This is a good point. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that was
the
what
true
happened at the
friendship
end.
kiss of James Marsden.
You know what they missed?
But it's okay.
It's him falling off a cliff, and then all of a sudden, Tails. You see Tails flying up, and he picks
Kent.
Sonic up.
I haven't got there yet.
Okay, so Robotnik is kicked into the mushroom world.
Yeah, the other realm or whatever.
So
So
he's
he's
in
in
the mushroom
Mushroom
world, and that's where he goes crazy and becomes more Robotnik-like.
Yeah,
Cool.
And so it goes, and his like mustache thing is outrageous, and and he shaved his head, and he's nuts,
And he's got some gear with him, and he's like, "I'll find a way back.
What
I'll
is this,
find a
2
way
minutes
back."
maybe? 2 minutes scene.
Yeah,
basically.
it's real
Okay,
quick.
yeah.
and then
But
there's
then
the whole
so then it
rock
gets over.
reconnaissance thing, which I don't. There was this one joke.
I'm so lost.
I don't. What was that rock? Did that rock mean something, or
What
did he
rock?
just go crazy? The rock that Jim Carrey.
I don't know. He kept throwing it. I think that might have been like a reference to the game, but I didn't quite.
That's what I was hoping
There's
you
a
would
stone
know.
head he kept throwing and then following it, and I was like, he does have those totem poles that come up out of the ground.
Yeah,
but
that's
I don't
it.
know. So then
He's on these mushroom.
He
tops?
usually just has robotic arms that he kind of swings
But
down.
he's like, I'll get him.
Okay.
And then like the movie's over, and then right before, like I think some credits run, and then all of a sudden it stops, and you hear, you see the thing, and all of a sudden you hear, okay, I've tracked him to this planet, and it shows up, and it's Tails.
Yeah!
Standing on a cliff, looking over a green hill, Montana.
raise it a full letter grade for that scene alone.
Honestly, my kids gasp. We're like, oh, it's Tails.
How did Tails look?
He looked great.
Yes.
Tails looked really great.
Love for Tails.
Like, honestly, I thought Tails, I was like, he pulled up, I'm like, that's Tails. That's exactly how I pictured him looking in live action.
Well, this is easily getting a sequel then.
Yes.
I mean, the money it's making.
Yes.
No, it's,
Yeah.
it's,
This is
a,
next
it's a
Iron Man.
sequel.
Yeah.
It means we get more Jim Carrey being zany too.
Oh, one thing I really
Do you think
too.
they'll do it again?
So,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dr. Robotnik. I've always called him Dr. Robotnik, but
Yeah.
then they have the nickname of Eggman, right? Because he looks like an egg.
Right.
Well, in this movie, they actually make this kind of nice organic reference to that, where he has these little drones that look like eggs, and he's like, my eggs, or something like that. Or Sonic says, they look like a bunch of eggs. And he's like, oh, whatever, Eggman. And so it becomes his nickname.
Oh,
and I was like,
that works.
That was organic. Good job. It wasn't forced. So
Okay.
When he knocked him off the side of the building, were you surprised?
I liked that part.
I did too. I
That
was like,
actually,
oh, that was the first interesting thing that's happened.
So Dr.
Like,
Robotnik's about to
plot-wise.
shoot them all and on the top of this building where you got the rings. And Sonic says, I know what to do. And he shoves the two, the man and Mike, Tom, Donut Lord, and Pretzel Lady. He shoves them off the building, and they're just falling. And the plan is for him to just throw a ring so they could appear wherever they want. But then he gets delayed. And so it was like one of those things where I saw my kids like start gripping their seats because it's like, oh, and I'm like, they're not going to die.
So they're falling the whole time while the missiles are firing at Sonic. And then this is right when Robotnik reveals that he has Sonic power as well.
Yeah.
And
so he
so-
can go as fast as Sonic. So it's kind of cool.
Oh, I don't know if I like that.
Just the machine. It's temporary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but just,
It's back down to letter grade. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it is.
Like he
just have the villain have equal powers.
He has the quill. The quill like can activate temper, like give him some sort of power.
Okay, well, we have spent so long on Sonic, a week old movie.
Oh my sweet goodness!
So we hope you enjoyed this review. Let us know what you thought of Sonic the Hedgehog if you saw it, and if you
What
plan on
review do
seeing
you want
it.
to give it, Kent?
I want to see it.
And here we are a week late giving a review for a Bacon Bit, but we hope you enjoyed it.
Thanks for nothing, Kent. That was hot garbage, but it's in me now.